time now for WLEA's opinion program, Sound Off.
And here's your host, Kevin Dorn. Speaking to us this morning from Omaha, Nebraska, we have on the line with us Kay Bosiljevac. Mrs. Bosiljevac is the wife of an American pilot who's missing in action in Vietnam. And she has, I think, a very interesting story to tell us. We hear about MIAs, missing in actions, and we know that there are people still actively working, trying to get these men home. And we also know that there is a great deal of apathy about this problem. We're going to try to dispel some of the apathy this morning when you hear Kay's story. Now, Kay, first of all, let's talk about your husband, what branch of the service he was in, when he was shot down, and the whole story. Tell us about that, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Would you like me to start now?
Sure, go ahead. We're on the air right now.
Okay. Well, my husband Mike was an aircrew member in F-105, flying over North Vietnam on a combat mission in 1972. When he was shot down with his crew member on the 29th of September in 72 by a Soviet surface-to-air missile that it didn't hit the aircraft, but it did do great damage, so they did have to bail out. After they hit the ground, Jim O'Neill, who was the pilot of the aircraft, tried to make contact with my husband, and he couldn't. So consequently, he was immediately captured. So they said the area was so heavily concentrated with people searching for them anyway. About 3 days later, in the prison camp called the Hanoi Hilton, he was asked about any inquiry he'd like to make, and he inquired about Mike. And he was told by a English-speaking turnkey or guard that my husband was alive, well, uninjured, and luckier than him. As well, Hanoi Radio announced the capture of the pilots alive. So basically, we do know that it would have been impossible for an individual such as my husband to have escaped from capture, to have avoided capture at that point in time.
In other words, there were so many communists on the ground, there was no way he was going to disappear into the jungle or the countryside.
No, he would have had a hard time disguising himself since he was 6'3.5", and basically it was extremely deep into North Vietnamese territory, about 23 miles southwest of Hanoi, very near the famous prison camp called Son Tay.
Okay, now this Officer O'Neill, this pilot O'Neill, who was with your husband at the time, he was told by the North Vietnamese communists that, yes, Mike is alive and actually in better shape than you are.
I think Jim had some minor injuries at the time, and the Vietnamese did announce the capture as well over Radio Hanoi, and it did, they clearly indicated that they took him captive.
Okay, so you know that your husband was taken alive, that he was a prisoner of the North Vietnamese in September of 1972.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any mail from him?
Well, over the years, it must be understood that the returning prisoners that did come out in 73, they received occasionally, mail from their families, and mail was always one thing that was very much a manipulated item. If a letter got to them from their family, very frequently the Vietnamese would simply put it in a room while they were tied up and keep it out of the reach of them. And we don't know exactly what they do with it, but I do continue to send mail. In the first year after Mike was shot down, I sent a package, which was then allowed. You could send a sort of the Geneva Convention size package with medication and other items in it. It was then returned to me on February the 15th, our son's first birthday in 73. And it had been tampered with. They had taken out a certain amount of medication, and for whatever the purposes were, they did do this. Over the years, there's been sort of a pattern of returning some of the mail that I send, a very small percentage of the mail that I send, back to us around our son's birthday. I think the most intriguing one came a couple of years ago And it had a Hanoi postmark on it. That, in other words, it went to Hanoi. And it was returned to us via East Germany. So I don't really know what to read into that, except that someone posted it back to us in East Germany.
Okay, so in other words, you've sent, over the years, you've sent mail and packages. The packages have been returned, opened. They've been opened and tampered with, but you don't know who did that or why.
Well, let me give you an example of something that parallels that. Another family from Pennsylvania, we talked this over one time, and they said that they had also received a package back in the first year. And that package also had been, one corner of the box had been worn away, or chewed away. They said it almost looked as if it had been chewed. And inside the package, tucked up in there through that hole, there were 3 tiny stockings, knitted, hand knit. And interestingly enough, each little stocking, like a Christmas stocking, had the initials of one of his 3 children on it.
So that could have been the prisoner. It could have been the communists. You don't know who it was. Who did that?
Well, I don't think the communists would sit on knitting stockings, but a prisoner perhaps might find use for any materials that he could. And I would assume that he possibly did this.
Kay, did any pilot coming out or any prisoner coming out of Vietnam in '73 ever indicate to you that they had seen your husband?
So as far as seeing my husband, Jim said that, he watched him come there in the parachute very carefully, and that he had been able to do all the proper things to ensure his survival. He was in control. He was definitely coming down very well. As far as within the prison system, others came out with his name. There was a lot of querying going on, a lot of where did he disappear to, as well as so many others. One of the things that we do know is that when the prisons emptied out, certainly not all of the prisons in which Americans were being held were emptied.
How do you know that, Kay?
Well, basically because of the fact that our government knew which prisons, and there were many, in North Vietnam and other places, Americans were being held. But it doesn't mean that they did move prisoners from one place to another very, very frequently. And many of the prisoners did come back with stories of, curious stories of people being moved up to the Chinese border into several areas, Cao Bang, Lao, what is it called, Lang San, Cao Bang, Lao Tai, and yet we only received prisoners out of one of those prisons.
We have to take a little break, Kay. I'll be right back with you.
When it comes to a great color picture, you can't beat the Sylvania Super Set.
You were just saying that because independent consumer panels rated a Sylvania Super Set as the best 19-inch color picture against leading brands.
Can you think of a better reason? And a Polaroid camera gives you great color pictures, too.
Hold it. What's that got to do with the Sylvania Super Set?
A lot, because from now until April 21st, everyone who buys a Sylvania Super Set gets a Polaroid Spirit 600 camera.
You mean I get 2 great pictures for the price of 1?
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, but I say it's so much better.
The Sylvania Super Set, the one that beat out RCA, Zenith, and even Sony for the best 19-inch color picture, is now a better buy than ever. Between now and April 21st, you'll receive a Polaroid Spirit 600 camera with automatic flash with a purchase of any Sylvania Super Set. Stop in at your participating Sylvania dealer and look them over. You'll get the picture.
Friends, special offers good at the DO TV, 25 Riverside Place, Hornell, just off Elm Street. DIDIO, the DO TV for this very special offer.
On our program this morning is Mrs. Mike Bosiljevac. Kay Bosiljevac speaking to us from Omaha, Nebraska. Her husband was shot down in 1972 near Hanoi. She has not heard from him since. At the time he was alive, the communists admitted that he was alive. He was his comrade who was shot down at the same time indicated that he was told by the communists that, yes, Mike is alive and in good shape. But she's never heard from him. Packages that have been sent to him have been returned opened. Sometimes they've been returned by way of East Germany, which I find terribly bizarre. Let me ask you about that, Kay. Has the government or anyone else in the MIA organization ever indicated to you why some of these packages, not just to you but to others, come back from other communist countries?
No, in fact, we've asked about that, and we don't really have an answer for it at this point. There could be a number of things. We do know for sure, and it is, our government is proceeding on the assumption that Americans are still being held alive and against their will in Southeast Asia. And there's a well-worn track record for this. I might mention that, just by way of expanding on this a little bit, that the French, in their, after the end of the French Indochina War, found that the Vietnamese were constantly saying that they held no prisoners, and yet they repatriated people as long as 20 years after that point in time. In fact, it's our understanding that they're still holding French and Spanish nationals. So it's pretty clear that the Vietnamese have had a track record and a history of this. We do know that if they want to keep someone alive, they will. We also know for certain that there are areas in Vietnam that one of them, which was previously holding, it was a warehouse, and there were 420 American remains in that warehouse. And yet they keep saying, well, gee, we just find some bodies here or there, and we return them as we find them, which is totally untrue. They do, in fact, warehouse American remains. And there has been testimony to the effect that even in this warehouse, there were 3 live Americans being forced to maintain the area.
Kay, this would fit in with a pattern we know about the communists at the end of World War II. Mm-hmm. But you're indicating that at some point they did let these Frenchmen go, or at least some of them.
What? Just a small number. They did do that, and they certainly haven't let everybody go. And they do also hold hostage the remains of people. In fact, a notable case would be the grandson of Charles de Gaulle. Although they have the remains, they admittedly have them, they refuse to return them to France.
What they're doing then, of course, is they're using you as some kind of leverage for something else they want. Now, I think if my understanding of that period is fairly accurate, what they had hoped for was to have some kind of money sent to them in the form of repatriations for all of the...
Yeah, so have indicated right along from the very earliest times after the Paris Peace Accords that their demands are basically for an enormous amount of money, and that it was definitely linked to the return of American prisoners and remains of those who died.
And there seems to be, Kay, if I'm not mistaken, some evidence that President Nixon agreed to that, but then they being the North Vietnamese, broke the agreement when they invaded South Vietnam, and that's why we never gave them the money.
That's true. Well, they invaded Cambodia.
Right. Had we given them the money, do you think you might have your husband home, or at least more information available?
Of course, that would just be speculation on my part. I don't know, because of the experience with the French. I think that I really couldn't say whether or not they would have given these men back. We do know for certain that they could at any time give these individuals back, if in fact their claim that they are now considering this a humanitarian matter has any truth to it at all. I think that they are still holding out for funds.
Have you been there, Kay?
No, I have been to Southeast Asia 3 times, but in fact the last time I spoke with Vietnamese at their embassy in Bangkok, I was invited to come in and declined to do so. For my own reasons, I just did not feel comfortable with the idea of going in, because when one goes into Vietnam, the chances are I would simply object to being propagandized.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the help you're getting. Are you getting help from Americans, the government, and other Americans? Are you getting any kind of help in this effort to find out, you being all the folks in MIA, not just you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think the families of the men that are missing have tried a long time to get the word out to the American people, and with marginal success over a long haul. But in recent years, I think we've had a lot of help, and certainly everybody that finds out about this through whatever source, if it's the American Legion or the CFW or whatever group that is passing on the information that there are 2,500 Americans still missing. They've been very generous in trying to help us out. The current administration has done, I think, a really good job of reassessing our position on this matter, taking a look at it in terms of reality and saying, hey, we think they're still holding prisoners. We also know that they have large warehouses full of American remains. Under their previous administrations, they simply ignored the issue, period.
You're saying the Carter and Ford administrations just didn't give any help at all. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I remember Gerald Ford being sympathetic to this. However, I don't think in the time frame that he was in office, he really had enough time to implement anything worthwhile. Certainly Carter didn't. As soon as he promised that he would never let the Vietnamese into the United Nations or any other position where they would receive funding from the United States or American monies that are pooled into anything. And also, he also promised that he wouldn't recognize Vietnam. And yet, as soon as he was in office, he began the process of immediately letting them into the UN and starting to beat the drum for normalization of relations with no request for an accounting of the missing.
Kay, our time is just about gone. Let me say to you, God forbid I should ever be in a similar situation with one of my sons, but if I had a child there being held by the communists, I think I would want my government to pay whatever ransom those kind of people have to have. Don't you feel that way sometimes?
Well, I think that one thing has to be understood. We have to have some assurance that we're going to get what we want. At this point in time, it's very difficult in that the Vietnamese continue to say, we do not hold any American prisoners. They do not call American prisoners prisoners, they call them war criminals. We do have to be sure. I advocate strongly that our government set a high-level negotiator to this task of getting these men out of there. And that would certainly entail, I suppose, a process of give and take. I would never advocate that our government give them whatever they want, carte blanche. I think that they certainly will extract some price for these people. And I do think the American people probably would agree with our government's position on this, that we must, in fact, try to get them out.
Kay, it's been inspirational talking with you. It really has. Our time is up. We're going to talk to you again sometime, okay?
All right, I'd love to.
And I want to thank you very, very much for speaking with us this morning.
Okay.
Thank you. Our guest this morning, Kay Bosiljevac from Omaha, Nebraska. And if that story doesn't touch your heart, I don't know what would. Still waiting 12 years later and still working for her husband, she believes may still be alive in the communist prisons, either in North Vietnam or, we didn't get to this, but there is also some evidence they may have been shipped off to Russia. But there you have the story. We'll have Kay back again some other time. And thank you very much for being with us. Tomorrow, our program continues. We have Jimmy Phillips, Reverend Jimmy Phillips from the Christian School in Canisteo, talking about the problems of having a Christian school. Join us then.